But the seat, like, I guess it's better for men stand it. Is that right? Is that what they're for? But I mean, I'm asking about this. That's comfier for men, basically. You like it though, that kind? Does it feel good? Because I've never tried one. Yeah? Oh, nice. All right, well, great to meet you. And there they go. They are off. Buckle up, folks. We are 0 to 3 in 2 seconds. Oh, choa.
You want ham and you want no. Okay, folks. Has everybody fastened their seatbelts?
Nope. We were there. Yes, you did.
Okay, if anybody has any questions, feel free to shout them out. If anybody has a mobile phone, please pop it onto silent for me. If anybody, feel free to have a conversation with your neighbor. Please just make sure you're quieter than I am. Okay, so that might mean whispering. And away we go. Bye. Have a good night. Thank you. Okay, well, good afternoon everybody and welcome aboard to Play Horse and Couch. My name is Laura. I'm going to be your tour guide and chauffeur for roughly the next hour as we travel around the eastern side of one of the most beautiful city parks in the world. Before I begin telling you about the park itself, let me introduce to you my two very handsome co-workers up ahead. On the left-hand side, we have Bigger, and on the right-hand side, we have Dan. So Bigger and Dan. Bigger is 18 years old. He's been there, done that, got the t-shirt to prove it. He is a legend. He is named after his hometown in Saskatchewan, Bigger, but we do like to call him the bigger brat of the yard. He has a big personality, this horse. He is one problem away from a riot, this horse, honestly. He is fantastic. Now, has anybody been to the town of Bigger? Nope. Nobody? Nope. If you do end up going, you'll notice there's a sign at the front of the town that says, New York is big, but this is bigger. Which I think is pretty clever. The other party trick that Bigger likes to indulge in at the end of each tour is usually, once he's finished his bucket of water, he'll actually grab what's left of it and throw it all over you. So I usually tell people to watch out, but we are dropping off at the pavilion, so you don't get to see his party trick today. But on the right hand side we have Dan. Dan is also 18 years old and he is just such a sweetheart. These horses are like yin and yang, so Dan is the complete opposite to Bigger. He won't say boo to a goose. Because he's grey in colour, he often gets paired up with another grey horse when they go to the weddings. So he loves to go to the parties. He went to one of the weddings on Sunday and he does his bumwiggle. He has got a bit of a dance that he does if he gets to rock up to one of the weddings. He gets very excited to be in their show collars. Stan is also our smallest horse. He stands at 16.3 hands high. In comparison, you were introduced to Grit back there, which is 19.2 hands high. That makes him only a few inches smaller than the tallest living horse in the world. So he's a pretty big boy. But both of my boys in front, they are both Percherons. That's a French breed of draft horse bred in La Perche in France. And draft horses were originally bred to carry knights in armour in battle. That armour was so heavy, the knights had to be hoisted up onto their horses via a pulley system. If they got knocked off during battle, they'd be rotten home. Over the years, of course, the army got lighter and the horses were swapped out. Much smaller horses that could do the same job instead. So the big draft horses, they had to find different jobs. Farming, fishing, forestry. Back home in the UK, I've even seen some draft horses pulling boats down canals. So they are incredibly versatile. Throughout this tour, you will hear me refer to all of the horses that we have here in Stanley Park as boys. That's because all of them are. There's an old city bylaw from the 1700s that states all working horses in the city have to be a gelding. That is, of course, a male neutered horse. And the reason behind the law? Well, how do I put this politely? If you take a group of boys and you introduce them to a girl, the boys might get a little bit distracted. So now you know why we only have boys. But I will tell you a lot more about my two boys later on in the tour. But now though, we welcome you to Stanley Park. The park itself is 1,000 acres large. That makes it 157 acres larger than New York's famous Central Park. We're also very proud to be British Columbia's #1 tourist attraction. We attract between 8 to 9 million visitors each year. But that is helped a little bit by the fact that the West End, to the right through the trees, that is home to 47,000 people per square mile, making it one of the most densely populated areas in North America, behind New York City, Mexico City, and Los Angeles. The body of water we're currently following to the right, this is Cole Harbour. In 1859, Captain George Richards and his engineer, Francis Proctor, were out for a stroll along the shoreline when they came across a lump of coal. Luckily for us, what they found wasn't lost, and the quality wasn't too great, so they never ended up mining the coal seam that lies underneath us here. So instead, we just left to the legacy of the name, Cole Harbour. To the right, the blue floating sheds that we can see, this is the Royal Vancouver Yacht Club, formed in 1903. Their members partake in races each year, including the Swift Shore Race and the Victoria Maui Race. Victor Maui usually takes them about 11 to 12 days, but our members recently set the record at 8 days, 9 hours, and 17 minutes, blowing the old records out of the water by over a day. So they must have had some pretty good weather that week. But had you been looking to the left-hand side, you will have noticed a car park. Checking everybody still has a sense of humor. I'm only half joking because the area on the left back there, it used to be a pig farm. It was actually owned by some of the first white settlers of this city. It was, however, over 3,000 years ago that the First Nations called this place home. We are sat on the unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. It wasn't until 1792 when Captain George Vancouver sailed into broad inland and claimed it for the British. He didn't stay for long though, he soon sailed off, continuing up the west coast, plotting and charting all of the islands and inland, as he'd been commissioned to make a map of the west coast. In 1858, when the Fraser Canyon gold rush occurred, the British came back and they found gold. They then colonized the area. But it wasn't until 1886, when the city incorporated, that one of the first orders of business was to establish the park. Looking through the gap in the trees to the right, you might have already noticed the island over there, with the bridge leading towards it and the red brick building on top. That island is known as Deadman's Island. It gets its name from a bit of a dark story. A few hundred years ago, there was a tribal war between the Haida, the Snoqualmie, and the Squamish community in the park. The hideout, under the cover of darkness, came and captured the women and children, holding them ransom. In return, they asked for 200 young men to surrender. But when those brave young Amish men surrendered, they were all slaughtered. Earning the name Devil's Island. After such an atrocity, you can imagine that no one particularly wanted to live there anymore. So instead, the island was converted into a burial ground. That's true. That is slightly misleading. You see, the First Nations here at the time did not bury their dead. Instead, they were placed into elaborately carved cedarwood boxes and hung atop a cedar tree, with the chief often being found at the top of the tree and everybody else of a lower social ranking underneath. The tradition of the bad name continued when in 1888 a smallpox pandemic broke out. This time the island was converted into a quarantine station, that's south. It wasn't until 1937 that the island was converted into a naval base. Today that base is known as HMCS Discovery. HMCS stands for His Majesty's Canadian Ship, and Discovery is the name of the ship that Captain George Vancouver sailed into Broad in London. But now, folks, I have a bit of a game, a puzzle for us all to play. Does everybody want to join in? Yeah? Okay, keep your eyes looking forward to the emblem on the left of the Discovery sign as I break down the word Discovery into 3 parts. See if you notice anything about the emblem, okay? Disc over Y. Disc over Y. Do you notice the emblem literally is a golden disc over a white Y, spelling out discovery.
Oh.
Someone had a little bit too much time in their hands creating that one, I think. Or maybe in a
Disc over Y. Discovery.
You're so bored. But if you look to the water, you'll notice the tide is imminent. There's a difference in 4 meters between high and low tide. It takes about 6 hours to tide down. So you probably wouldn't want to dock any large naval vessels immediately by the base here. Instead, the base is actually used to host diplomatic and official functions, as well as training up naval cadets after. Stand, step up! Step up! Step up! There you go, good boys. The large white building with sails on top to the right, that is Canada Place. It was built for Expo in 1986, Vancouver's centennial year. It can dock up to 4 cruise ships there at any one time. They go from here to Alaska in the summer months, but also further afield to Japan, New Zealand, and Hawaii.
That's cool.
To the right of there, you might have noticed the large grassy rooftop building. That is the convention center. It was built in 2009 for the 2010 Winter Olympics. The 5-acre grass roof is used to collect the rainwater. That in turn is used to flush the toilets, which is really pleasant. They also have some beehives on top. To the right of there, you'll notice that our seaplanes emerge. They go from here to Victoria, Seattle, and up to Whistler. So they will land anywhere where there's no port to do so. Looks like one's about to take off now. And then if you look to the red cranes on the horizon, to the right of them, you might see a snow-capped silhouette of Mount Baker all the way in the States. Oh, yeah, 70 miles away. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Sometimes it looks a little bit more clearer. It's a tiny bit hazy today, I'd say, when I see it.
Oh, that's cool.
But always a pleasure to see it. In front of us now, we have the turnbuckles. We will be stopping here for 5 minutes to let you hop off and enjoy. The archway in front of the carriage is one of 3 portals designed by Musqueam artist Susan Point. It's called People Amongst the People. It contains 2 figures, a man and a woman, with their arms both outstretched in welcome to you, the people, onto the Musqueam territory. So that is a lovely welcome for you. If you have any questions about the totem poles, you are more than welcome to come back and ask me. If you would like to go and say hello to Bigger and Dan, feel free. Please make sure you go to the front end and just be kind to them. They'll be kind to you. Just be aware the front end bites, the back end kicks, okay? That is the rule of horses. The time is 4:40. If you could please be back on board at 4:50, that gives you 10 minutes to hop off and enjoy. They have bathrooms. The gift shop might also still be open. If you hear me whistle, you'll know to start running, okay? 10 minutes, folks. Oh, 10 minutes. 4:50.
10 minutes. We'll take a little break.
Enjoy.
Can I stay here if I want?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna check anybody else.
Yeah, I walk a lot.
You just have to go to the front where they can see you, and you're more than welcome to say hi. This is Dan and Bigger. Everybody's fastened their seatbelts? Yes. Wonderful. Now, you might not have heard me at the very start, but our horses are amazing. All it takes for me to ask them to walk on again is I blow them a kiss. Oh boy. Okay, there's going to be a bit of a bump because the rubber mats are out of order. So wait for it here. It's a bit of a bump on the back. There we go. Have to go back and sort that one out. Okay, there we go. Now, if you look to the top of the hill, you will see the statue of the running man. And that man is Harry Jerome. Harry was born in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan in 1940, and he became inducted into the Canadian Amateur Athletic Hall of Fame upon winning not only the 100 meter, but also the 100-yard sprinting world record. Upon retiring from running, he came back to North Shore to teach PE at a few local schools. He was also Team Canada's sports consultant for a while. But I'm not sure I would enjoy being taught by a former Olympian. No pressure there, right? It might be hard to believe in a day like today, but Vancouver does get a lot of rain. If you look to the left, you'll see what happened in 2006. Huge trees got snapped in half. That's because Vancouver gets between 3 and 6 feet of it every year. Which means when winds come through, trees come down. They don't send their roots down very far. So they very simply fall over. But if you look to the right, you'll see the lighthouse. That is Brockton Point Lighthouse. Although it was decommissioned in 2006, it still remains a very popular place for proposals. if anybody needs any ideas. Now we've turned the corner to get a much better look at the rest of the port of Vancouver, a natural deep water harbour, perfect for exporting and importing things from, just like the large yellow piles to the right. Can everybody see the large yellow piles? Yeah. Does anybody know what they are?
Nope. No.
Start with the letter X. Sulfur, good job. That is a byproduct of the sour gas wells up in northern BC and Alberta, shipped here by train. We can stockpile up to 140,000.
Wow, sulfur. Doesn't smell. Wow.
He gets mixed with potash, which is held in the blue containers to the left of it, and that creates fertilizer. We then ship it to over 40 different countries. What doesn't get used up in that process gets used up never. Vulcanization. That's the hardening of rubber. Something very handy here in Canada for the making of hockey pucks. That is a lot of hockey pucks. But I do love to ask this question on all my tours. You see, sometimes we get some very funny answers. Last year I had a 5-year-old boy sat on my front seat. He was determined to get it right. He started by guessing rubber ducks, yellow crayons, bananas, banana pie, lemons, gold, yellow powder, the world's supply of the color yellow, yellow snow gathered from all the mountains, McDonald's scrambled egg powder, popcorn. This was adorable. And he'd just been to the movies, Minions. And I asked him why he thought it was Minions. He told me it's a big pile of naked minions. They wake up in the morning, go to the left, and they put their blue pants on. So
I like that. I like it. This is nice. This is really nice. All the views are amazing.
to the left, we have the Brockton Oval. You can see in front here the cricket pitch, behind the hedge, the rugby pitch, and the building is the Vancouver Cricket and Rugby Club clubhouse. You can imagine the car park on the left gets filled up on the weekend. Lots of people are having their social barbecues here. Very lucky.
We passed it. Yeah, you can't see our...
And now, I could be imagining things, but I would look over to the water because I've seen something blow up in the water a few times. And we do see orcas here in the inlet. So I'm going to be quiet and just look to the right for a sec. There is this seagull sat on the water. To the left of it, there was it looked like a blowhole. One of my other colleagues has seen orcas here before, but I've never seen them. No, maybe I'm just imagining things. It's always nice to her. But if you look to the left-hand side, you'll see a brown little cottage. This is the last place in Stanley Park where anybody is allowed to live. This is the home of the 9 o'clock gun caretaker. What? Gun is a 12-pound muzzle-feeder cannon that is situated just slightly further up from the Harry Jerome statue. Cast in Woolwich in England in 1816, brought over to Victoria to play its part in their defence system during the British-American boundary dispute, and eventually brought over to the park. But not before our caretaker complained of this very dangerous job. Each night at 9 o'clock, you'd have to walk over to Brockton Point and on the end of a very long fishing rod-like apparatus, place and then dangle over the water's edge a stick of dynamite.
Oh my god.
Of course, we would light it, letting it explode, and the sound of that explosion over the water would allow all of the ship's captains in the harbour to set their chronometers to it. A chronometer back in the day was used for navigation. Very important that they had Greenwich Mean Time and the local time. Nowadays, of course, ships have GPS. There's no real need for it, but it is still fired each night out of tradition. Today, it is electronically fired. So all the current caretaker has to do is walk over, flip a switch, and walk back. He gets to live in the beautiful Stanley Park, free of charge.
Oh, nice.
He even has the rose garden gardeners help him out with his front garden, so he is a very lucky chap. His name is Dave, and Dave is on a wait list for 25 years in order to get the job.
Wow.
He's been in the job now for 30 years. Still has a very long wait if you are after his job. But you might have already noticed our next attraction, sat over there on the rock, waiting very patiently for us. That is a girl in a wetsuit. She might look familiar. That is because Douglas Brown, a Vancouver-based lawyer, he traveled to Copenhagen, Denmark, where he fell in love with the statue of a little mermaid. So much so that he actually asked the Danes if he could have a copy. They replied, absolutely not. No, go and get your own ideas. Luckily for us, he did. He came back and he commissioned a local artist, Alec Immody, to come up with something similar, but not too similar of course they got stage. And have a good look at her. She's in fact a girl, not a mermaid. She's got 2 legs, with slippers on her feet, goggles on her head. 9 times out of 10, she's even sporting a seagull on top of her head. Oh. And every year on her birthday, June 10th, Alec the artist would come down to the seawall and give her a good bath. He would even hand out carrot cake to passers-by to celebrate her birthday. Unfortunately, she hasn't had a good bath since 1994, when he very sadly passed away. But I keep saying, we need to find someone else to come down and do the job. Any volunteers? Nobody? Okay, you've got 5 minutes, okay? There was a little boy this morning and he was like, he genuinely thought it was gonna like make him go, so he was like, he had a bit of a meltdown. He wasn't too great. But I'll move forward just a little bit so we get some pictures of the bridge as well, okay? You'll see the city of North Vancouver. Behind, the mountain with the radio towers on top, that is Seawall Mountain. And then if you look directly across from us, you'll see Grouse Mountain with a gondola running at the side. Oh. And the windmill on top. And then if you look towards the bridge, you'll see the city of West Vancouver. The mountain up there, that is Cypress Mountain. That is where I spend my winter as a ski instructor. Babysitting children on skis. That's a lot of fun. But I'll give you one guess as to whether the horses or the children listen better.
The horses.
Yeah. Is everybody still nice and comfortable? Happy?
Yes, ma'am.
It's a beautiful day. I love watching the seaplanes take off. But sometimes when they turn the corner around by the lighthouse, they barely miss the lighthouse. And sometimes it's a little bit close to the bridge for lighting. The beautiful green suspension bridge on our right, that is known as the Lions Gate Bridge. It gets its name from the twin mountain peaks of the Lions. They are behind Cypress Mountain. But the bridge also has another name. The bridge that fear stoke.
What?
Are we all familiar with the Irish brewing company Guinness?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, Guinness, back in the day, launched a property development in West Vancouver. At the time, there was no bridge. Just a rinky-dink old ferry that was pretty inconsistent and unreliable. So they asked the city to build a bridge. But no one to pay for it, or for the big road through Stanley Park. So it took them 40 years of negotiations with the city. But eventually, the city said yes. However, there was a catch. Guinness had to pay for everything.
Wow.
And they did.
Wow.
Once they got approved in 1947, it only took 18 months to build, less than 2 years. Originally it was a toll bridge, nowadays it's free to cross. And the property development in West Vancouver, that is known as the British property. Back in the day, if you wanted to own a house over there, you had to own a British passport. Nowadays, however, all you're going to need is a lot of money. It's going to set you back between $5 and $20 million to own a house over there.
Ouch.
A lot of money. Can everybody feel the difference now with the horses now they're warmed up?
Yeah.
Yeah? I always do the first part of the tour really slowly and now they've got the momentum going and it feels really good. But everybody always worries at the start. To the right, we have the children's water park. I don't know who designed it, but someone decided to give the children access to water cannons. Let's just say they like to aim them at a moving target.
I love that.
To the left, we got the back of the Vancouver Aquarium, open every day between 9 and 5. Last will shut at 3:30. And this on the left is the Lumberman's Arch, a tribute to the lumber industry here in British Columbia and the prosperity it's brought to Vancouver. There's a hole in the top of that. Last year, there was a family of raccoons that lived in there.
Oh.
Yeah. On the left, we also have these beautiful Japanese red maple trees. They turn a dark burgundy in spring, go much more vibrant red in summer. In the autumn, they go green. The opposite of all our other trees here.
So this is on news. We didn't go past that. This is nice. Ooh, this is bad. Maybe.
The body of water we're currently following to the right. This is Burrard Inlet. It's home to lots of animals like salmon, seals, sea lions, otters and orcas, even the occasional whale.
Yeah.
But when they swim through underneath the bridge, they always make the enemies. Looking back down the inlet, you might have already noticed we do in fact have a second bridge down there. That is the third bridge on that particular part of the inlet. But it was during the construction of the second bridge that stood there when disaster struck. It was June 17th, 1958. The bridge was covered in locusts. They were nearing completion on the bridge, very excited, about to celebrate. But then, without warning, the whole structure twisted, turned, and then fell into the water below, killing 19 people. It was later revealed that due to an engineering flaw, they had somehow managed to miscalculate the balance of the bridge. In 1960, they decided to amend those errors and rebuilt it. But in 1994, that is when they decided to rename it from the Second Narrows Bridge to the Ironworkers Memorial Bridge, paying tribute to those that lost their lives that day. This has become another reason as to why, upon the graduation ceremony of the engineers, they are now all gifted with a pinky ring. This is to be worn on their working hand, reminding them of the weight of responsibility that they bear whilst they undertake these projects. So I think that's very sweet. Some of the cyclists that go around the park do absolutely like 5 or 10 laps of the whole park. Wow. And just keep going and going and going and going. And you see them like 3 times or more one tour. It's pretty incredible. Wow. I wish I was that fit. I cycle to work, but it's different. But now, throughout the tour, you folks might have already noticed that we do have some very large old tree stumps. British Columbia is known for its logging. Back in the day, before we had heavy machinery, in order to get the trees down and out the forest, you first of all would have to take an axe to the side, chop a notch in it. In that notch, insert a springboard. That's the little extremely easy they become to chop down and pull through the forest. To do that, you would need either a team of oxen or giraffe horses, like our boys, pulling them through the forest along a skid road. That is a series of smaller logs all around the floor, as a large log would be pulled over the top of. Nowadays, the roads that you find here in Stanley Park, they were all once skid roads that just been paved over. And today for the horses, wow, they have it a little bit easier than their ancestors back in the day, because their day starts off at 7 o'clock with breakfast in bed. For breakfast, my darling boys get a very carefully calculated balance of grains, enriched with vitamins, minerals. Electrolytes also added to their diet for warm weather. They also eat each day between half and 3/4 of a bale of hay, washing that down with 80 to 100 litres of water. That's the same amount of water you'll find in a 10-minute shower or a bubble bath. Once they finish breakfast, we bring them out of their boxes, say good morning to them, give them a cuddle and a back scratch. We brush them off all over to make sure they're nice and comfortable, and then we can throw on our harnesses. Once they're harnessed, they're pretty much ready to go. We'll hitch them up to the carriage, make the 10-minute commute work. We'll do between 3 and 4 tours each day. They always get at least half an hour break between each tour. And at the end of the day, once they wave goodbye to the last another tour guest, we'll go back to the barn where I unhitch them, unharness them, give them a nice cool shower to wash their old dirt. Take them out to the paddock where they're going to have a good roll, run around, pick a grass, and then back to their small grain and hay. Just like us, they also have days off. They tend to work 3-4 days on, 1-2 days off. So that's pretty dependent on their age and their fitness. They are also incredibly good at telling us if they need an extra day off. I wish I could do the same. And holidays, vacations. Our season runs from the 1st of March to mid-November, so they get 3 to 4 months off solidly in the winter. During the summer, they're all here on a rolling schedule, so for every month they work, they get a week off at the end. The Rose Garden. In order to get up this next section of the tour, it's actually the steepest part, so we do need some more momentum to get up here. Unfortunately, that does mean I am going to have to ask a few of you to get off and push. No?
Thank you. Hard-working horses.
We'll ask the horses very nicely, okay?
I'm very happy with the bike this time. It's just so steep. I just like sitting around.
Up! Okay! There you go. There we go.
So strong here.
Yeah. Good job.
It's like always seen it before.
Good job.
Big fan that way. You see that?
Wow. That's what I call horsepower. No applause? That wasn't applause. Good job. Okay, we will give Bigger and Dan a quick break before we continue. So we'll just turn the corner left, pull off ahead to the right. In the meantime, I am going to tell you more about the trees and the animals as we continue the tour. But now, does anybody have any questions? Is anybody curious about anything? Yeah, you can walk into the park. Coastal mountains, yeah. The mountain range that we have here is the part of the coastal mountains, not the Rocky Mountains, unfortunately. Step up. Daniel, step up. There you go. Ooh. Good boys. Nobody's curious about anything?
How long does it take to do a full circuit of the park?
Of the whole park? On
Yeah.
the seawall or the road?
Let's say the seawall.
The seawall, I'd give yourself at least 2 hours, 2.5 hours to walk it. It's 10 kilometers.
Okay.
No, we don't have any large animals here like moose, sparrow, cougar. Because it's too much activity for them. They don't like it. And I guess they might have also been like hunted as well when we first made the park. You know, they just haven't come back, returned. Good boys. Good job, Vicar. I always wonder how patient the horses will be at this stand because they know this is like the last little bit before home. So they never usually get to stand here for too long. What are you looking at, Daniel? Sometimes the Vancouver Police Department's mounted units, they patrol, so you'll just end up with horses behind you, and then my horses get very excited. Very quickly. But if you see their ears pricked like that, they're usually concentrating on something. Usually the horses have their ears to the side or behind because they're listening to me, and because they have their blinders on, they can see in front, but they want to listen behind, so they can see behind, essentially. So people are very much like, I find that people here in the city and tourists that come, not all of them have any horse experience whatsoever.
Yes.
So they were only taught that, oh, if the horse's ears are forward, that means they're happy. That's not what the ears are used for. Not an indicator of happiness, just an indicator of like what is going on. Nobody has any questions at all?
Those, the large trees, are they redwood?
Western red cedar. Yeah. That one's 800 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's one of our younger trees.
And that's the younger.
Yeah, if anybody has a car, I recommend going around the road because that first hairpin then, if you were to continue on that road that we were just on, there's a really big tree on the first corner.
And how old is that?
Bigger than that one. It's definitely an old growth. It's between 1,000 and 3,000 years old.
Wow.
It just humbles you up real quick, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
We also have the hollow tree on the west side of the park. And they used to put horse and carriages in the hollow tree.
Oh my
because it's
gosh.
so big. Can you imagine?
It's pretty tall.
Kind of want to see it.
Bigger.
They are, they're between 150 meters off the coast. So if you go over to Eagle Harbour, White Cliff, Horseshoe Bay, they've got Arbutus Tree there. And you'll see them across the Sea to Sky Highway as well. But I had a quick question for you guys. How much do you think one of our horses weighs?
The weight.
Oh my god.
Wow.
600? More than 600.
1,000. 1,000.
Yeah.
Wow.
One
Oh
ton.
my god.
2,000 pounds in weight.
Wow.
Sounds like it
But
takes a
I'm
lot to
telling you
feed.
this, so I can tell you how much they can pull. Because they can pull 5 times their own body weight.
Wow.
That's awesome.
5 tons. One horse. We have together working as a team. You would think it would be double, but when they're working as a team, the hardest part is actually getting the momentum going. So when you have a friend, it's easier.
Yeah.
So together, they can actually pull 15 times their body weight. 15 tons. Do you know how scary that is? These guys are strong. Bigger, you cannot make Bigger do anything he doesn't want to do. The other day, he knew that one of the new stable hands was new. So, this girl went to tie Bigger up, and he dragged her all the way across, like almost through the car park to get grass.
Oh my gosh.
So my boss shouted at her and said, "What are you doing? Like, go put you put an extra attachment for the head collar if he's strong. So go put that on." And she came back with it, put it on, and she turned him in a circle. And he's like, "Where are you going? Aren't you taking him out to the paddock?" She's like, "No, I was just trying to tie him up." This poor girl. Like, we don't have cars like this back home in the UK. So the fact that you guys have these gigantic trucks, I don't get it. I mean, how many horsepower is that? That is crazy. And the exhaust on that. Anyway, so these horses are incredibly strong. And you cannot make them do anything they don't want to do, honestly. They will just run you over, yeah? But here in the park, they're not allowed to do more than 1.5 times their body weight, pull that amount of weight, because that means they're more than capable of doing it, but they're also happy to do it. Because if you ask them to do too much, they're going to get frustrated. They won't want to do their job. And we've got horses that have been with us that just aren't able, they don't want to do this job. Because they're just like me and you. They all have their own personalities. We've got a lovely horse called Bill. His brother Bud is no longer with us because he didn't like to stand still. Well, that's really important, isn't it? So, funnily enough, we wanted to see if he would be a better riding horse. We put a saddle on him. One of our colleagues got fucked off a few times. But after the 3rd time, he got used to it. And now he's a police horse.
Oh, wow.
Working for our neighbours. And funny enough, I actually saw him last week. And we had some roadworks up here. There was a burst water main. So we were dropping people off at the railway parking lot for a while. And they were stood in that parking lot with Buzz and another police horse called Sunny for about 15 minutes. And I was talking to people for ages, so I watched them just standing there in the corner. I turned around and I asked them, I was like, "Well, what are you doing? Like, are you waiting for someone to turn up?" They're like, "Oh no, we're just training Buzz. Just stand still." 3 years later. It's really important the horses are continuously educated, you know? Pardon? Oh no, because I wasn't around. I've been here for 2 years. But one of the police officers does come over and ask if Bill can go over for a sleepover every so often. So that's really sweet. So I do get to see Bud. But I want to tell you a bit more about the trees while we're going on this road. So if you look to the left, you'll see another beautiful western red cedar. They can grow up to 200 feet tall, and they have something special. Umbrella foliage. That is where the branches are able to wick away all of the water from the base of the tree, leaving you completely dry underneath. Handy to find when I'm in a rainstorm here in Vancouver. The First Nations, they call them the Tree of Life. Once you cut one down, they last over 100 years without rotting. Ideal to make houses, canoes, totem poles out of. If you were to pull apart the inner part, you could also weave with them, create much finer things like clothing, jewellery, mats, baskets, ropes and fishing nets. Really incredible stuff. Some of the animals that we have here. Well, we're home to 4 pairs of nesting bald eagle. There's 2 nests by the west side, a nest by the pavilion where I drop you off at the end of the tour, and one behind us on the left. There are no longer any larger animals like moose, bear, cougar here, but we do have plenty of smaller things like skunks, raccoons, beavers, otters, coyotes, Canada geese. 2 types of squirrel. You've got the smaller, native Douglas squirrel. They are reddish-brown in colour, quick as a whip. If you ever see them, they're running straight over the road as fast as they can. They never look both ways. But in 1909, we were gifted the other type of squirrel by the New York City Central Park staff. 8 breeding pairs of eastern grey squirrel. That is just a gift that keeps on giving. Oh, big tree. We're now overrun with them here in the park in the Lower Mainland. But I think we might have gotten them back in the States if all of the Canada geese were sent their way. So there's that. I was on the wagonette, which is the smaller carriage the other day, and it faces, all the seats face in the way, so it's really easy to look down the hill. So when I did that a few days ago, I looked down to where we had just parked at the very bottom. There was 2 otters and a baby otter flopping over the road. Has anybody seen an otter run on dry land? No. They look like an accordion. They bend in the middle like a slinky. So that was really sweet. And then on the right, you'll see some of the damage that one of our friends, Woody the Woodpecker, has done. A pileated woodpecker, and he's actually had some offspring recently because there's a ton of baby woodpeckers running rampant. But you can see the damages caused to this tree. This is a beautiful Douglas fir tree. This one's 450 years old, roughly. What else do we notice other than the holes? What about the colouring? Can we see the scorch marks on the side? Yeah. That's from the last forest fire that rolled through the park over 100 years ago.
Wow.
Because the bark is 30 centimetres thick in places, it can protect itself from ground level fires. Which is incredible.
Wow.
And then, for those of you who might be able to see, halfway up the tree in front, there's actually a black piece of lingerie. That's a squirrel. We took that up there. And usually you see them in the bin right here, and they'll bring everything out of it. And if you do happen to walk down to Beaver Lake, there's a lot of Douglas squirrels down there, and they will bark at you to no end to get you to walk away from them. They're quite territorial. But I highly recommend a walk around Beaver Lake. It is a hub for nature. We see quite a few coyotes around there, and they always seem to cross the road in front of us here. It was, however, over 40 years ago that the Parks Board decided that they want to introduce beaver to the lake. So they got some beaver, put them in the lake, put a big fence around them, but the beaver did not like that. No, they chewed through the fence. Popping out on the right hand side here, chopping down some of the trees before digging a big tunnel underneath this road, and popping out on the left hand side, chopping down even more of the trees. In fairness to the beaver, that is exactly what they do, so why would we be surprised? But when they dug that tunnel, it didn't take long before the tunnel started to collapse. And when the tunnel started to collapse, so did the road. The Parks Board were not pleased. That was not part of their plan after all, so they had to come up with some sort of solution. The solution? Buy some suitcases. Suitcases? And they told the beaver to pack those bags. They shipped them off. That was the end of that. No more beaver. Oh, so they thought. Because in 2009, we somehow ended up with 5 beaver living in Beaver Lake, 2 in Lost Lagoon. We still do not know how the beaver managed to make their way back into the park. I highly doubt they took a cab from downtown or a bus over the bridge. My theory for a while was it must have taken them about 40 years to dig a tunnel underneath the Rod Inlet. But I was reminded the other day that beaver can in fact swim. So there you go. The park and you're suddenly overcome with a sense of deja vu, it might be because you've already seen us on the big screen. Vancouver is third in the movie making industry. They're often seen filming in downtown as well as the park. If we ever need carriage horses, they often give us a call. Last year, we were quite busy. We were involved with Tourism Canada filming. They wanted to film for New York City Central Park carriage horse. One of our horses, Lonnie, he got the call up for that. But at the last minute, he decided he wanted a day in bed. So one of our horses called Matlock decided to go instead. But we do have a movie star among us. You see Daniel in front. He was involved in Once Upon a Time. But they have been involved in a few other films, including Mirror Mirror, The Bachelor Canada, Love It or List It. But in a second now, we're going to be able to look down to the right where the road takes you down the hill. At the bottom, there is a brown building with a green parking sign on top. Stand in front very gently, pat them. There you go.
Are we allowed to?
Well, I've stopped for you.
Thank you so much.
You can see you're really excited. Yeah, quickly. Yeah, go for it. You know when you can tell it's going to make people's whole day?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I don't want to stress them out too much.
They're fine, they're just going home.
Well, you see it in animals.
Yeah, we didn't want to horse around too much.
That was a good one. So if you look down the hill, you'll see the brown building. That is where dinner is waiting. We've got a 5-minute commute to the park, so we're very lucky. The red building behind with the Canadian flag on top, that is home to our neighbours, the Vancouver Police Department's mounted unit. That's their bus game. So they have 9 horses, 7 officers that patrol the 28 kilometres of trail in the park, as well as West End, downtown, and social events. The other thing to note about them is that they have a farm cat, Cheddar. He looks like Garfield. He's orange and fluffy. He's incredibly friendly. They just got him last year to keep the mice population in check after their old barn cat passed away. But Cheddar is incredibly friendly. You see, he loves to patrol the rose garden. Unfortunately, last year, a member of the public decided they were actually going to pick him up. And they decided that Cheddar was lost, so they took him to a cat shelter. Yeah, big problem. Funnily enough, he was wearing a collar, so the people at the cat shelter realised who he belonged to, and they told the people that brought him in, you do realise you've kidnapped a police officer. Oh my goodness, I would have been mortified.
This is beautiful. It's pretty. Look at this. Wow.
But here we are in the beautiful rose garden. It was established in 1920 by the Kiwanis Club. That's a service club here in Vancouver. They want to showcase how well roses do in the Vancouver climate. And they certainly do. We've got over 40 different pots of roses. During the week, you can see the gardeners hard at work here. They do such a great job. But we are going to be pulling up just a few more meters first. I'll be able to let you hop off. But it would be a tour of Stanley Park if I at least didn't tell you where the name came from. Lord Stanley of Preston. He dedicated the park on October 28, 1889. He was Lord Governor General of Canada, the Queen's representative over here. But you might know his name from somewhere else. You see, he had 2 sons. They were both avid hockey players. They asked their dad to donate the trophy he had in his possession at the time to what is now the modern day NHL. Unfortunately, here in Vancouver, we're not too familiar with the Stanley Cup. Not anybody a fan of ice hockey here? The savage ice hockey joke. Well, folks, here we are. I'm going to be stopping here. If you need to get back where you came from, you are going to walk down the pathway here, follow the blue fence. On the left, you'll be able to see the car park where we came. It's a 2-minute walk downhill. If you need the bathroom, they've got the nicer public bathrooms on the left of the building. If you need food, they've got the barn grill on the right-hand side. If you need the number 19 bus stop or the hop-on, hop-off bus stop, they are both directly behind the building, less than a 100-meter walk. If you want to walk out of the park, just walk that way. Good luck. And if you need any more directions from me, feel free to ask. But other than that, take your time tonight. Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys. You're more than welcome to go and say thank you to the
We're going to go check the restaurant. Yeah.
Just go to the front where they can see you, okay? Okay. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, bless. Straight to sleep. I can grab that bag. Yeah.
No,
Are you guys on the
if you're off this, you see how Mum is. Oh, yeah. Won't it hold it? I think we use the loo.
Do you need to use the loo again?
No, I want to take photographs of those rose bushes.
Yeah, we'll use the loo.